ready?
The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready, Shelby. Hit it.
Attaboy.
Whoa, that's got a little kick, doesn't it? Whoa.
It's about right now the uninitiated have a tendency to soil themselves.
Yeah, baby! Yeah, baby! Oh, my God! Whoa! Oh!
You okay?
It's Ford. You all right?
I had no idea.
It was really an education because Jim and I aren't really like race car people, so we had to sort of become experts. And there are so many different race cars that are characters in the movie that had to be just right.
I love cars, I love car design, but I'm not one of those guys. Like, I'm not the obsessive, and I think in many ways it helped me to not get lost in the fetishization of the cars and kind of really find the characters.
When I hit the gas, let's get rid of the vacuum secondaries.
Charlie, get a Harley carb. We're going to rebuild the throttle assembly.
There was a gigantic effort in recreating the detail and the richness and the character of these automobiles. Each one of these automobiles is a different character.
The team that was assembling our cast of cars did tremendous research with our production designer, all of whom were tracing the reality of the car's development, so huge amounts of research had to happen.
We have 7 Corvettes ranging from 1956 to 1963. We have 3 replica Porsche Speedsters in the race that were built by a local company, JPS Motorsports.
I'm gonna outbrake you on the next turn!
We're running these cars hard, and there is breakdowns, and we don't have time to fix them, so they need to bring in the same car right away.
These are the slab side Cobras, which are the very first AC Cobra that Shelby modified. They're kit cars as well from a company called Superformance in Irvine. The actual Carroll Shelby car just sold for $3 million.
The open helmet and open cockpit, it's an amazing time period to capture because it's just so raw. And they were just out there sometimes with seatbelts. Some of them didn't wear seatbelts at all, and just getting out there and racing door handle to door handle in that time period. It's been amazing to capture.
If anything was vital for me, it was that you felt that these characters were always one blink of an eye away from death, that these things were hulking beasts, these cars. The shells were made of aluminum or fiberglass or some combination. I think it very often felt for them like you were riding at 200 miles an hour in a cardboard box. There was no real protection.
It was the birth of auto racing, but it was also the birth of the Cobra automobile because you had Porsches and you had Corvettes and you had Cobras all coming together. It was really the strong were going to survive.
What are they doing? Making your car go faster.
The GT40 may be the stuff of legend. Ferrari and Henry Ford and Shelby and the Cobra, all these vehicles may be the stuff of legend, but that we had to make them feel used, lived in, that these were sometimes pieces of crap that they were frustrated with and wanted to kick, that their relationship with these vehicles was one where they were more disposable.
The bloody door won't close! All right.
Maybe it's the hinge. I was stunned, actually, when I first showed up and saw the cars. I didn't know how authentic they were going to look, and they really look good. And they do a lot of special things, like getting the dust just right to see all the attention to detail. It's pretty fun.
There is a graphic layout for each car. Graphic designer, LA-based Jason Perrine, he put these together with the reference and the direction that I provided. This is a Rosso Corsa, which is the official Ferrari color. What you see on here is not a Ferrari red rivet, but it's actually a guide dot. We use them as rivets for the exterior bodywork of the Ferraris. The tires that are a common tire for our GT40s and the Ferraris. The GT40s ran with Goodyears. The 330 P3s, the Ferraris ran with Firestones. We weren't going to get original those or even a company to make those. So we came up with a vinyl stencil solution that we could tack onto the sidewall and paint in different ways, and that was our reliable and faithful to the period substitute.
A lot of the research we did was not only charting the way the cars changed over the years, both in body and engine, and obviously body paint and all that, but also how they drove them and how they related to them.
You know how we talked about how you do your thing, I do my thing? This is my thing. Just trust me, Ken.
There's only so many ways you can shoot cars. Are you gonna pan like this? Are you gonna travel along like this? And I was like, we're not gonna do any of those. My thing was like, let's get in the cars.
We definitely wanted to make the audience feel what it's like to be in these little death traps and these little insane machines that, you know, basically they took a lightweight chassis and put the biggest engine they could possibly put into it.
We've spent a lot of time developing this vehicle over here, which is our elevator rig, and it captures the high-speed filming, and it's connected to the car, so it moves really well through the traffic. And then we have our edge crane, which is a storytelling vehicle that captures more of the scope of the story.
There's no way you can create or fake somebody going through the G-forces of pulling a car around these tracks at 2 Gs or 3 Gs and feeling the vibration on their faces and the helmets and the interactive lights and kicks off the chrome. I mean, you can do a lot of things on stage, but there's nothing like that.
With Christian in the car, you know, we're doing probably about 120 with those kind of scenes. That's a good, safe speed for that piece of equipment. The jolting and the cornering and all that kind of stuff really helps him have it be more real than just him sitting in a car on stage.
All right, you bastard. Let's do this again. No, man, that is addictive. That is absolutely glorious, you know, and they can just stick going around corners, and it's like you can turn on a dime. It's just amazing what you can do. That's my girl, that's my girl!
For Faden and I, we're running our own race team. We have all our gear, our cameras, our cranes, our camera cars, all the rigging. In many ways, the movie is the technology you see on the front of the lens, and then there's a tremendous amount of assembled technology behind the camera.
We went through a lot of testing and didn't overcomplicate things with, you know, fancy slider moves and all that. It was like, let's hard mount these cameras onto these bodies and embrace the vibration even without vibration isolators.
This new head behind me, it's a remote gimbal, but it's only 19 pounds. So that allows us to move the camera much more faster, regardless of what kind of G-force or what kind of curves you take with the camera.
I think the way it's going to feel like a movie is if the coverage of the race feels like nothing you ever saw, that you're much more with the driver, breathing with the driver, feeling the road, feeling every decision they're making with the gear shift, with the steering wheel, feeling the weather pressing against you and all the other oppositional forces against their vehicle and their success.
Can you keep this up?
Can the car?
We came up with this rig, the Biscuit rig. It's quick, so we're carrying the car and powering it with this vehicle and being more in the race. This has a 440 cubic inch Chevy LS motor. We're carrying this Cobra, engine and all. When you go to the GT40 and the Ferraris, they're actual bucks, no engine, no tranny. So the rear tires of the GT40 will actually be turning. It'll be the rear axle of the Biscuit rig.
The pod car and the Biscuit rig kind of go hand in hand. The pod is mounted at the back, and the front half of the car is real. And so all the shots from over the shoulder or looking in the side are done from the pod. They're both carrying actors and getting the shot of Christian in the car while he's racing. It's just one's a forward shot and one's reverse. I'm also driving a rig called Frankenstein, which is a race car that's had tubing put all the way around it, so it's protected, and do a lot of the high-speed shooting with that.
What was most important to us was in an age when everything feels possible because of computer graphics and visual effects, we wanted the high of being on the road and not a movie digital simulation of it, but the reality of it.
Ken Miles has set a new lap record.